I'll tell you the team that strikes my fancy right off the bat. We're looking at Super Bowl odds over at Caesars. The Buccaneers are the favorite.
Okay.
What?
No, I want you to say the team that I'm thinking of right now.
The Buffalo Bills.
Oh, God.
No?
Can you get over that? Not the Bills.
The Los Angeles Chargers.
The Los Angeles Rams at plus 1,100.
Yeah, I like that too. I love the Rams. I was heavy on the Rams on Monday night, and it made my heart flutter to see potential future Hall of Famer Matthew Stafford slanging that ball around against that Cardinals defense.
I was not heavy on them. I really thought after the first matchup earlier in the season, it was just kind of a bad matchup for the Rams, and they were going to have a hard time with containing Kyler Murray, getting to Kyler Murray, Calamari, as some people call him.
Calamari. Yeah.
Calamari.
Calamari's got lots of family down in.
He didn't look healthy though. To that note, he didn't look like he was 100%. But that being said,
Aaron Donald looked healthy.
Yes, he did. He looked like he had the red ass. But I get the sense that that's one of those games that just completely turns the momentum of that team. And without their best cornerback and starting tight end, they just go on this warpath and they start playing up to their capabilities. And I could see them, depending on how things work out, making their way to an NFC Championship game. They could be that hot team like Tampa was a year ago.
Yeah.
This late in the season when they start to turn it on.
I agree with you. 11-1. Look, the reality is there are probably at most. There's some interesting ones down the way, but look, there's going to be 14 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Of those 14, I don't know. It's pretty wide open this year. Not that I think that any team can make a run.
I think the AFC is more wide open. If Kansas City or New England loses, and I say early, either obviously there's only going to be one seed. So the other's going to be playing the wild card round. If one of those teams in the wild card round gets knocked out, then I'm kind of like, well, here we go. Let's see who makes it.
Yeah.
That's the side that I think is more interesting. To me in the NFC, I think the realistic competitors are Tampa, Green Bay, and LA. I'm not really buying anyone else.
I have a hard time, and this is I'm not trying to bash Cliff Kingsbury or Calamari. We haven't seen either of them in the playoffs before. And that's going to be asking them to now likely win multiple, you're going to probably win 3 games because they could still get the 1 seed, but I think it's a little less likely.
That was such a big loss to your point. They needed that win for the division, for the 1 seed, everything.
For sort of some mental gymnastics.
And by the way, they can't get it done at home. It's a problem for them this year. Maybe they're better off being a wild card. Honestly, maybe they're better off being a lower seed the way they play on the road this year.
That may actually, you may actually have a point there. So the Bucs are favored at 5-1, Chiefs at 6-1, the Packers 7-1, Patriots 7.5-1, Cardinals 9, Rams 11, Cowboys 12, Bills 14. Of those who are the teams that are under 20-1, obviously I like the Bucs. You love the teams. I just don't think there's a ton of value at the top of that board. I would look at. I agree with you on the Rams, and then the Bills.
Don't say Buffalo. Don't say the Bills. Because here's the reality. Here's the reality for the Bills. They can't run the football, and they can't stop the run.
That's a problem in January and February.
It's a problem in January especially when you're Buffalo. If you have any aspirations of playing a home game, or let's just say, again, for example, depending on who you're playing in the AFC, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. All right, down in the 20-1 range, Titans 20-1, Titans and Chargers, 30-1, Ravens, 49ers 35-1, along with the Colts, Browns 40-1, Bengals 50-1, and then I guess the Vikings 80-1 you could technically include, but I think really that's the next crew that up to 50-1 with the Bengals. Do you like any of the value there for a longer shot to potentially win the Super Bowl?
It's hard to like any of that. Baltimore's the first one that comes to mind, but now Lamar with the ankle sprain and not knowing how that division is going to shake out. I don't know if they get a wild card team. The AFC North might just have the division champ. That's it.
I think when you look at the Ravens schedule, and we talked about this on the recap show and maybe even on the other point, but it looks like they might miss the playoffs. If Lamar is unable to be Lamar, and look, the first instinct with Lamar is his ankle's messed up. He's not going to be able to run. You know what else you can't do when your ankle's messed up? You can't pass the ball because you
throw
you can't shift the weight the way you want to. I mean, that's a problem.
Yeah. And his passing has been a bit of a problem this year, so it's not going to get any better. It's like, oh, he's got a hurt ankle. All of a sudden, he's just completing everything. It's like, no, it's actually the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's going to go the other way. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 49ers and the Colts at 35-1 sort of interest me. Now, I have bets on the 49ers at 55-1, so I'm not going to take it at 35-1. But like, and I don't necessarily think that either one of those teams is actually going to win the Super Bowl. But it wouldn't shock me if either one of those teams made it to the Super Bowl or even the championship game.
I think the way the 49ers are playing right now, and on top of that, just the trust in like Shanahan's been there.
And they've been to the Super Bowl with this.
They've been there. Garoppolo's been there. The hard thing is that the version of this defense isn't as good as that defense that year.
Yeah.
Garoppolo's not having as good of a year as it was that year. It's not that far off, but it's not as good. The rushing attack isn't quite as good. Like outside of just George Kittle, like offensively or even defensively, for that matter, they're not.
I mean, Deebo Samuel's a friggin' freak.
He's awesome. He's awesome.
He might be my favorite player in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, Micah Parsons is the most fun to watch. Dallas is that one team that I just think it'd be fun to lay a little bit on them because they arguably have one of the best, if not the best, defensive player in the league. They're so uber talented on offense. You just figure like if they got hot and
Dak hadn't played very well the last month though.
I know though. That's the biggest reservation.